I run cloud for Capgemini Financial Services. My role includes running Center of Excellence for all major hyperscalers. We also undertake a lot of research and development function, and we also oversee delivery and engineering. So there are about three categories in which we use software intelligence. Number one, we work with most insurance and banks. And if you really look at what insurance and banks as industry is trying to do, banks are now trying to marry the old and the new. So they have heritage and they're competing with what we call neo banks. And insurance on the other side is trying to close the concept of insurance gap. Across both these patterns, there is a lot of legacy, both the organizations trying to overcome. And we use a significant amount of software intelligence to modernize the legacy, to create at times what we call business outcomes. The second pattern we see in software intelligence usage is when we are helping all the financial institutions launch newer products. What we realize is often the business value behind the new product launch is not realized, not because they were not created well. They were created very well, they were state of the art, we use cloud native technology. However, a product needs to integrate with upstream and downstream, which often does not have the same tech stack. And that is where a lot of software intelligence comes in the picture. And third and most important, financial services, which I look after, is a very heavily regulated industry. So what data to share, where to keep your compute, where to have residency of compute, what regulations are at play. Unless you have a very focused approach to measure, monitor and report, it is difficult to realize any cloud journey, and that's where for us software intelligence plays a critical role. We're able to very accurately measure and report how much compliant this payment system is going to be, how much compliant and regulated the data is going to be for, let's say, reinsurance implementation. So across both these spectrums, either it's legacy or new product launch or being regulatory compliant, we count heavily on software intelligence. Once we are able to start a program, there are 2 or 3 ways in which we use software intelligence. Number one, whenever we talk about implementing a large cloud program, it's all about realizing business outcomes. At somewhere, somebody created a business case, and that business case has to be realized. So we have to be very targeted in our approach to implement the program. That means we know what changes we have to make, we know where we have to make it, and most important, there is often churn in the teams. The same team that started the program often is not the same team that takes the program to the finish line. So in between the entire journey, whether it is on our side, on the partner side, or on the client side, we have to really create a digital twin of the organization. The digital twin has many sides. For example, what are your dependencies? What are your integration points? What data are you sitting on? The moment we are able to create a digital twin for a program that we are starting, we can afford to have people change in midway, because then the consistency is not compromised. So that's number one. Number two, whenever we have a lot of intelligence in front of us, whether it is cached imaging or highlight more broadly or other tools for the marketplace, we realize that we are also saving developer fatigue. We are in an economy where there is a lot of war for talent, and making sure that the developers, architects, testing personnels are operating at a lower attrition risk goes a long way in our ability to deliver the end-to-end program to our clients. And third and most important, as cloud is taking more and more center stage, as digitization is taking more and more center stage, we feel that there is an obligation we have to also offer some carbon neutrality and sustainability to the economy and to our clients. And for that, we use a lot of software intelligence to be able to accurately predict what is my carbon footprint today. If I implement this application on a serverless ecosystem, what is going to be my carbon footprint? We also use intelligence to identify what parts of the functionality drive most of the carbon consumption and what part are not. And using that analysis, we're able to create some really interesting outcomes for our clients. So the number one advice is as follows. With a Google search engine, a chat GPT available to everyone, you can almost find everything you want to find. However, you need to know what you are finding, what you're looking for. And my number one advice is most cloud journeys fail because they start with a lot of excitement but does not have a very clear business outcome and purpose identified. If we are able to baseline that, and then at the back of it, we use the software intelligence in a purpose-driven way where we know what we are finding for. For example, there are journeys we are doing where the priority is simplification. So then when we create software intelligence, we are looking for redundancies, we are looking for what we can isolate. In some cases, we are using customer experience, a superior personalized customer experience as the real driver behind a cloud journey. Then we are actually looking for ways in which what are the integration points, user journey maps with the client, and how do we modernize it, make it simpler. So my number one advice is when you are looking at software intelligence, be very clear about what you're actually looking for, and then it will start making sense. Without that, there are so much noise and signals coming out, you'll always second guess what the priority should be.